Alright, working on a 2003 Acura TL. She called me and said that the check engine light was flashing, it was running rough or rattling, and wanted me to take a look at it. So I believe you can feel the check engine light flashing, and you can feel it's got a dead miss in it on one of the cylinders. And I'm going to go in and see if we can find out which cylinder it is and go from there. I'm afraid sometimes these Hondas, you'll have one cylinder misfire, but it'll show up as multi-cylinder misfire or more than one cylinder, and then you got to kind of do some guesswork or a little bit of detective work to find out what it is. Sometimes you got to be careful in these Hondas too. Misadjusted valves can cause multiple cylinder misfires or multiple cylinder misfires. So if your valves haven't been adjusted in a long time, that's something to think about. The only reason why I don't think that's the issue here is because she said it was fine when she parked it, and then it's not. Nothing's been developing over time. It just happened all of a sudden. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. So we got 5 codes. 1, 3, 5, and 6, and then temporary misfire on each cylinder. So what I'm going to do is erase these codes and see if I can lie to it here. Alright, I tried to lie to it and say the engine was off. It caught me in a lie. So what are you doing? What I'm going to do is clear the codes out, because a lot of times on these Hondas especially, you may have a misfire on one cylinder. For whatever reason, it'll show up on other cylinders. It'll set multiple codes, even though it's only one. See, I cleared out the codes, so I'm going to start it up and see which cylinder comes back immediately. I may have to take it for a short drive. And yeah, you can feel it. It feels like it's only one cylinder. My guess is whatever cylinder comes back first is a misfire. This is going to be the one I'm going to look at first. It's not been driven enough yet since I cleared the codes. And the check engine light just came on, now it's flashing, you can see. So that was off a minute ago. Oh, misfire on any cylinder. So we got no direction yet from the computer. Alright, I might take it around the block real quick and see. Hopefully just one comes back for now. Normally what happens is the cylinder that's really got the issue will come up and leave a code, and then the more you drive it, it'll start sending other cylinders, saying that other cylinders are misfiring when they're not really. So I'm going to take this around the block real quick. Yeah, it's still saying, it's not giving me direction yet, so I'll take it around the block real quick, and then we'll come back and see if it comes up with just a one single cylinder. Alright, so I just got back. I drove a little bit farther than I wanted to. I was trying to keep the engine somewhat cool to work on it, but finally got it to pop up misfire number 3. So what I'm going to do is, it's P0303. So what I'm going to do is just swap out the coil on it and change it, move it to a different cylinder, clear the code out again, and then take it for a ride and see if that misfire moves to the cylinder I changed it to. Could be a fuel injector, or like I said, a valve or some other issue. Most common on these though is usually the coils. So I'm going to swap the coils out, see if that misfire moves, drive it again. If it does, then we know that we'll just replace the coil on it and then go from there, see if anything else pops up. Alright, just so if you don't know, on these Hondas, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the back side of the engine usually. This is the front side. So it's saying number 3 is a big problem here. So all I'm going to do is take out 3, move it to here, and take out 6, move it to here. And what should happen is we'll clear the codes and drive it, and number 6 should be the misfire instead of number 3. So I'll show you that in the car real quick. So here's under the car. Here's the cover. That cover goes right here. There's just 2 screws. You got this one and this one. Just take a flathead, do it about a half a turn out, and it just pulls off. I've already swapped the coil. This is number 6 if you remember. So this is this coil here is actually was in number 3, and I'm going to take this coil here, which came out of number 6, and put it in number 3 and see if it moves. It's really hot right now, so I'm kind of burning my hands. And you're going to use a these are Torx. I believe they're 8. No, they're 6mm Torx bits on here. So just get that and take the screw out, unplug the plug. All you do is just press right here, press that and pull up, and so we're just going to swap them out and see, and then we'll go take it for a test drive real quick and see if we change the misfire where it's happening at. Alright, so I just swapped the coil packs out. You can see here, just went ahead and erased the codes, hit the read codes. Nothing's been found, so I haven't started it up yet. So I'm going to go take it for a quick test drive. When we come back, it should say misfire in cylinder 6 if I'm right about the coil. If not, then we'll look at fuel injector and things like that. But for now, I'm 9 times out of 10 it's usually the coil on these. That's why we swap them first before we do anything else, just to make sure that the misfire moves. So, and even if you have a basic scan tool, you should be able to see, it'll tell you what the code is, P0303 or P0306 or whatever, so you can kind of see it move around. You can just do the same thing with a cheaper scan tool. You don't need a real expensive one to do the same kind of test. So I'm gonna go take this out for a spin real quick, and then we'll come back and see if it moved. Alright, so I'm kind of stuck in traffic. One thing I will note, if your check engine light's flashing like that, that means you have a cylinder misfire. It's a pretty bad one, or a multiple cylinder misfire. And shoot, I could have just went right there. I had it in neutral, trying to anyway, my point I was going to make is don't drive it around too much with your check engine light flashing like that, because what will happen is it will foul out your catalytic converter. You're dumping raw fuel in your catalytic converter because the cylinder's not burning off the fuel. It's not, the coil's not working. So you can end up burning up your catalytic converter pretty quickly doing that, and those are pretty expensive, So anyway, that's just a quick thing on that. If your check engine light's flashing like that, it's best to get that fixed as soon as possible and then try not to drive it too much. Alright, so I'm back now. It took me quite a while to get these codes set. The first one that came back, it's almost instantly when you turn it on, $13.99, misfired cylinder. Then I went out and drove it quite a bit, and number 6 came back first, which is the one we switched over to from 3, and then 4 popped up. But I'm gonna ignore 4 because, like I said before, these Hondas, usually when one misfires, it'll cause the other ones to send the code. They all want to join in on it. And it's usually only just one cylinder, unless you have multiple things going on. I don't believe, just from feeling the way this car drives, in my experience, I don't believe that it has more than one cylinder misfiring. And last time I took it out, 3 showed up. This time 6 showed up, and that's the one I switched it to. And 4 popped up later, and I think it's just trying to join in on the fun. So we're gonna go get a coil for number 6 and replace it. I'll show you that, and then I got a feeling that about 99% sure that'll fix it, and we'll take it for a drive and double check it. But I'm pretty confident it's just number 1 coil there, the number 6, which was number 3. We'll replace that. That should fix this car. Alright, you don't want to get yourself jammed up too much here. So remember, we determined that cylinder 3 was bad, which is on the back side, the last one on the back side, but we swapped it out with number 6, which is on the front here, the third one. So actually the bad one is number 6 now. So we're gonna just push this clip in, pull that up, and then take your 6mm. Pull the coil out, and I don't see anything. Sometimes you can see things on these coils, tracking and stuff like that. Really don't see much on this one. Really don't see too much on this one. So I don't think it's a tracking issue with the actual boot or anything. I think it's just a bad coil. I got the new one out here. You can see it's pretty easy to change these. Pop it straight in. Now, if you've been driving around for a long time with that flashing or having a misfire, you might want to change your spark plug or spark plugs, because they will go bad from the gas not being burnt off them. But from what she told me, this just started this morning. It was fine last night, and then this morning it started acting up. So this hasn't been a long term. I want to click down. There we go. This hasn't been a long-term misfire, so I'll go ahead and put this back on, as I'm pretty confident it's fixed. And if it's not, it's very easy to take on and off. You just turn this about half a turn. You'll kind of feel it where it stops. Actually, about a quarter turn. You'll feel it grab and stop. So that's all there is to change the coil. Let's go take it for a test drive and make sure that it's fixed. It should, if it's not fixed, we'll notice it right away, and that light will start flashing pretty quickly. So we'll get in and take it for a quick ride. Alright, I can tell instantly it's fixed. It's running real smooth, and it's not shaking like it was. Checking the light still on. I haven't cleared out the codes yet, so I'm gonna go ahead and erase the codes. And I gotta turn the engine back off to do that. Go through this real quick, and before I swap that coil out, that light would start flashing within the first 30 seconds of starting the car, if not quicker. We're just going to verify they're erased. Yeah, no fault called. So we'll just start up. And you can see the light's not flashing or coming on yet. So we'll take it for a quick ride here, and make sure it doesn't come on. I'll pick it back up in a few minutes. Alright, so I took it around my normal little test drive I do, and can see there's no check engine light. I just hit the read codes again, and there's no fault codes detected, so it's fixed. It's good to go. It's running good. And like I said, this thing did not run long enough to foul the plug out or do any kind of damage to the spark plug that I can tell, or just not enough time. She called me this morning and dropped it right off, so there's no reason to change the spark plugs on it. The only thing I would say, just go over a few things. With your lights flashing, try not to drive it too much, because you have a good chance of fouling out your catalytic converter. You don't want to do that. They're pretty expensive. And then on a Honda, if you have multiple cylinder misfires, the only thing I can tell you, if it's kind of been coming on slow over time, you may want to suspect your valves or something like that need to be adjusted. They have to be adjusted about every 100,000 or so. If not that, then sorry, somebody dropping something off. So if you don't believe it's the valves, what I always do on these Hondas, if I can drive it and it feels like it's just one cylinder, which is pretty obvious if you have a little bit of experience with it, I always delete, get rid of the codes, drive it again, and see which one comes back first, and that's normally your culprit. For whatever reason, on Hondas I found, especially in Acuras, if you have a single cylinder misfire, it'll cause the other ones to set codes. It's annoying, but it's just the way they are. So I mean, you could have more than one. Obviously, you could have more than one cylinder depending on what you got going on. But in general, that's what I would do. And then if you have them come back, a lot of them come back at once, and maybe you do have something else going on. But general rule of thumb for me, always, if I suspect it's just a single cylinder misfire, is I just clear them out, drive it. Whichever one comes back, that's the one I focus on. So anyway, thanks for watching. It's Friday. I'm going to hopefully not work on anything for a couple days and then get back at it. So thanks for watching. As always, God bless.